Hey guys, welcome to M&M Plants and Pets. Today's plant is a very different one. It's something that I've recently added to my collection. Almost I think 2 or 3 months ago I bought this plant and I'm really loving it, so I thought of sharing it. And this is none other than magic bean plant or lucky bean plant. The reason it is called this because of the beans that you see underneath over here. They are very different. You will not see it very normally in any plant. And these are also known as Australian chestnut plant because these are native to Australia and they originally belong to Australia. So I saw it in one of the plant shop and I couldn't resist myself from buying it. So let's see how to take care of them. The reason this plant will attract any of the plant lover is number one because of the unusual beans over here in the base, and second is the glossy leaves that this plant has. The leaves are extremely glossy and there is a very natural shine on the leaves of these plant. And if you have a look at the plant properly, like I got this pot long ago for myself and I thought that it was perfect for this plant. And if you look at the plant properly, it gives you this typical tree-like structure. So as if there is if you keep some small toy or a statue over here of Buddha or anyone sitting here and meditating, you can literally create that tree effect wherein someone is sitting and meditating, which is my plan to do with this plant. And that's why I will just chop off the stems over here so that it is initially you will feel that pain that you don't want to do it, but your plant looks good. So I just don't want anything over here so that it grows tall, and when it will grow tall and a bit wider, it will give that tree-like effect and my plant will really look good. I did a lot of research after buying this plant and I found that the reason these plants were grown in Australia in few regions is because first of all their root structure is very strong, and whenever they are grown with a purpose that the roots of these plants will hold the soil and the soil erosion will be avoided in that place wherever this plant is grown or this tree is grown. This is actually a tree, but because it is grown in this pot, it will not take that big structure, but these are actually trees grown in Australia to avoid soil erosion. Now if we come straight to the point of how to take care of them, according to my study, they love temperature between 16 degrees Celsius to 27 degrees Celsius. So if you are living in a place where it's very cold, I would suggest you to keep it near window where it receives some bright light throughout the day, or you can also give it artificial light like the tube light. And if you are living in a place which is very hot or it is summertime, for example right now in Australia the temperature it's very hot today, it's around 30 degrees Celsius. So if you are living in such a place, you can keep it in a shade place where it's not receiving sunlight, the direct sunlight, but it is getting the bright light for the green color of the plant. I have kept this plant in my well-lit room, so it is getting only bright light, filtered sunlight, and it is not getting any direct sunlight, and that's the reason it is doing so great. It is healthy. Now if you can see from here, I did chop my plant at this end before the summer started kicking in. The reason is this plant grows at its best in summer season. So when I chopped over here, that's when I got these 3 nodes from that one single point. So if you want to make any plant bushier, you will need to have a heavy heart and chop it from any point so that you can get few branches from that point. Now as you can see, I have chopped it again from this point. I have chopped it all from here so that again it can have more branches and it can get that tree-like structure. And the moment it will get a very heavy structure, I'll just try to give it a bonsai kind of a look. Now it's very easy to maintain and it does not require a lot of attention, honestly. If you have this plant, I would suggest you, or I would encourage you not to take over care of this plant. Give it water only if it is thirsty. I give my plant water whenever I place a finger in the soil. I will first check if the soil is dry. When the soil is dry, only then I will water. This plant will not die if you don't water it for few days. So kindly wait for the soil to dry and do not overwater it, because if you overwater this plant, it will easily catch fungus and it will then die. We have to understand one thing, that the reason these plants, as I mentioned, they were planted is to avoid soil erosion. That means their roots are very strong. Now when the plant or a tree is very strong, the roots are very strong, you do not need to take much care of it. The trees or the roots will itself take the care of the plant. So what I do is I just leave this plant all by itself, and I only chop it off whenever I feel that the time has come when I need to chop it so that it can grow in a better shape. And I water it honestly once in 10 days. I do not overwater it. If it is a very hot day, I might give it a good mist with water, but not more than that, nothing more than that. What kind of soil is good for lucky bean or Australian chestnut plant? A well-drained soil with hole in the base of the plant, and a loose porous soil, so that the soil should not be very rich, so that it's not holding the water and it's not keeping that moisture in the pot. So a loose soil will be fine, so that the water just goes in, the roots will just come in contact with the water, absorb as much as they can, and the remaining water just goes out, and that is all good for this plant. Now I did fertilize my plant before the summer started, because I knew that it will grow very well. So I thought that let me fertilize it, and what I did was, I have my watering can. So this is my watering can that I use for my plants, because it becomes very easy for me to water my plants like this, as you can see. So what I do is I will just put one drop, literally one drop of seaweed fertilizer, the liquid seaweed fertilizer, and it is going to be very cheap, because one bottle is honestly going to last, at least for me it's going to last for like 3-4 years, so it should be fine. So in this can I'll put one drop, I'll add water, normal water, and then I'll just give it to my plants so that they receive all the fertilizers they want. And once in a year, or maximum twice in a year, if you cannot resist yourself, fertilizing this plant would be fine. I had read once in one of the Facebook groups I am in, that their Australian chestnut plant did catch some disease or mealy bugs or some pests, which is very very rare in this plant. But if it does, then what I can do is, or what you can do is, you can just give it a good spray. Now there is a very very easy trick that you can apply. You can take your spray bottle and just put half tablespoon of Dettol hand wash liquid in that, and shake it properly. And if you want, you can mix some coffee powder in it, some as in let's say half a teaspoon of coffee powder. The mixture of coffee powder and Dettol is good, and you can just shake that water and just give it a very good spray. You do not need to buy anything from the market. If you spray that well, your plant will never catch any disease, and if there is any disease, it will go off very very soon. Now this plant looks very good, but one thing that I would love to share over here is the leaves of this plant and the bean that you see over here. They are very toxic. It's not good to consume it in any way. So please keep this plant away from your pets and kids if you have, because they do not have the idea, and if they consume it, they might they might have some problem related to stomach. So take care of that, I would say. And apart from that, it's a good plant to have. It gives a lot of grace and greenery to your collection, and it's very very easy to maintain. So I would highly recommend you to buy this plant, and it's not very expensive as well. I think I bought this plant for $10 or $12 from Bunnings, one of the plant stores in Australia. I bought it few months ago, and I'm really really happy with this plant. So if you have this plant and you're struggling to maintain it, do comment below if you feel that there is something that I forgot to cover, and I would try my best to help you with any possible questions that you have. So I hope you loved this video, and if you did, then please hit the like button, and do subscribe my channel if you're new to this channel, and hit the bell icon so that whenever I'm uploading any new video, you always get that notification and you can grab that video and see and learn from it. So bye for now.